Every year, around August, thousands of gardeners in zones 8, 9, and 10 plant their pansies, and every year, most of them die. And here's the part that's going to bother you. It's not because you did anything wrong. Because almost every fix you've been told, mulch it more, give it shade, pour sugar water on it, was never built to solve the real problem. I went through university extension research, including an actual slug experiment done by the Royal Horticultural Society, and what I found flips almost everything you've been told upside down. And the biggest lie in all of it, it's printed right there on the plant tag, your zone number. Stick with me because by the end of this, you're going to know exactly why your pansies keep dying, what to actually do about it, and a strategy most gardeners have never even heard of. Here's what the research tells us. Pansies do best when nighttime temperatures stay below about 65 degrees. Low nighttime temperatures are what matter most here, not just the daytime highs. When August nights stay hot, this is what happens inside the plant. The heat forces the leaves to close their pores, their stomata, to stop losing water. But those same pores are how the plant breathes in carbon dioxide, so the plant isn't just wilting, it's basically holding its breath. Photosynthesis slows down, growth stalls, and the flowers you were hoping for just don't show up. And here's what makes it worse. Your soil is usually hotter than the air around it. Sometimes noticeably hotter. So while you're standing there thinking, it's not that bad today, your plant's roots could already be sitting in conditions that are shutting them down. You water it, the soil looks wet, and it still wilts. That's not you doing something wrong. That's a root zone that's simply too hot to function properly, no matter how much water sits in it. University heat tolerance research backs this up too. Some pansy cultivars maintain stronger cell function under heat stress, while standard varieties are more sensitive to the same conditions. Same species, different genetics, completely different outcome. Not all pansies are created equal. Okay, let's go through the advice you've probably already heard, because most of it is half right, and that half truth is exactly what's costing you money. Myth 1, your zone number tells you when to plant. It doesn't. A USDA zone only measures your coldest winter temperature. That's it. It says nothing about your first frost date, your summer heat, or your humidity. Two towns in the same zone can have completely different falls. If you're planning your whole garden around a zone map, you're planning blind. Myth 2, just plant a taller vegetable nearby and it'll shade your pansies. Randomly sticking a pepper or a broccoli plant near your pansy doesn't automatically protect anything. Position matters. If that taller plant isn't sitting to the west or southwest, it's not blocking that brutal afternoon sun, it's just standing there. But if you already have established peppers or another tall, heat-tolerant plant in that bed, used on purpose, that's what gardeners call a nurse crop, an established plant acting as a living shade structure for something more vulnerable. Put your pansies or kale on the east side of it so they catch the shadow during the hardest part of the afternoon. Leave real distance, though, so the bigger plant's roots aren't drinking the water your seedling needs, and keep airflow open between them. Done right, that's genuine microclimate management. Done carelessly, it's just two plants fighting over the same patch of dirt. Myth 3, and this one surprised me the most, pansies protect your lettuce from slugs. The idea is that if slugs are eating your pansies, your lettuce is safe. Here's the problem. The Royal Horticultural Society actually tested this kind of thing. Barriers, traps, so-called protective plants. Almost none of it made a measurable difference to slug damage on the crop being protected. A slug on your pansy doesn't mean your lettuce is safe. It usually just means your whole bed already has too much moisture sitting around and not enough airflow, and that slug problem is coming for everything else next. Myth 4, sugar water or rice water gives seedlings an instant nitrogen boost. Let's just look at the chemistry for a second. Sugar is made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. There is no nitrogen in it. None. Plants already make their own sugar through photosynthesis. They don't need yours. What actually happens when you pour sugar water into the soil is that you feed the bacteria and fungi living there, and those microbes can tie up the nitrogen that's already available, leaving your seedling with less, not more. If you genuinely want to support a stressed seedling, a well-diluted seaweed extract is a better bet, but be clear about what it actually is. Think of it as a biostimulant rather than a heavy nitrogen fertilizer. Think of it less like a meal and more like an electrolyte drink. It can help a plant's cells hold together under heat stress, but it isn't going to rescue a plant that's fundamentally in the wrong conditions. Now, here's something almost nobody talks about, and it might be the single most important thing in this video if you're growing in pots. Container soil can run considerably hotter than the ground around it, enough that it's cooling off outside simply doesn't apply to your plant's roots. If your pansies or seedlings are in a pot on a patio, especially a dark one, your roots could be baking while the air around you feels perfectly fine. I learned this myself. I had 2 identical trays of seedlings, one in a dark plastic pot, one in a lighter colored container, same spot, same water, same light. The dark pot soil was noticeably hotter by early afternoon, and that tray stalled out while the other kept growing. The only difference was the container. University research has also shown that container color can have a major effect on root zone temperature, with dark containers heating up much more than light-colored ones. That's not a small gap. That's the difference between a thriving seedling and a stalled one. And on the pinching question, pinching back a leggy pansy does genuinely help. It breaks apical dominance, which just means the plant stops focusing all its energy on one tall stem and starts branching out sideways. That part is real. But the claim that it doubles your flowers, that's an exaggeration. What pinching actually gives you is a shorter, fuller, more compact plant, and a compact plant has less surface area exposed to hot, drying wind, which means it loses less water and holds up better under stress. That's the real win. Not double the blooms, a plant that's tough enough to bloom at all. A few of you have asked me some version of this. My zone is technically warm, but my summers are humid and wet. What do I actually do? Here's the honest answer. Humid zone 9 conditions and dry zone 9 conditions are basically 2 different gardens wearing the same zone number. If you're humid, your bigger enemy isn't heat alone, it's rot. Warm, wet soil under thick mulch is a perfect setup for root and crown disease. Prioritize airflow and drainage over piling on more mulch. If you're in a dry, arid zone 9, your priority flips, shade, and consistent watering matter more than airflow. Same zone number, 2 completely different game plans. So here's what to actually do, no matter which zone you're in. Step 1, stop watching the calendar and start watching your nighttime temperature. Once your nights are consistently staying below 65 degrees, that's a much better planting signal than the date on a seed packet. Step 2, choose your cultivar on purpose. Heat-tolerant and smaller flowered varieties genuinely outperform the big showy ones when the season is still warm. Ask for them by name at the nursery. Step 3, mulch smart, not heavy. About 2 inches of a light-colored, clean organic mulch is plenty. It reflects heat and holds moisture. Piling on 4 or 5 inches doesn't help faster. It can trap excess moisture and create poor conditions around the root zone. And keep it off the stem itself. A wet, buried crown in August heat invites root rot. Step 4, give your plants room. Keep pansies out of the main root zone of your vegetables and respect spacing and airflow if you're using the nurse crop approach. A little distance prevents most of the competition that kills both plants slowly and quietly. And one more thing worth being honest about, your actual window isn't the same everywhere. If you're in zone 8, Late summer can sometimes be your starting point, but you need to stay diligent about shade and watering while the heat lingers. In much of Zone 9, you're often better off starting seeds in trays somewhere shaded and protected than transplanting once the worst of the heat has broken. Sometimes that's not until later in the season. And if you're in Zone 10, especially in places with very hot summers, the honest answer is often wait. Your real fall window can open much later than you expect, and there's no prize for planting first if the plant is dead 3 weeks later. And here's the thing I promised you at the start, the detail almost nobody tells you. That pinching technique everyone talks about. It's not about getting double the flowers. It's about buying your plant time. A pinched, branched pansy handles heat stress better than a tall, leggy one because it isn't wasting energy holding up one weak stem. You're not tricking the plant into blooming more. You're helping it survive long enough to bloom at all. That's really the whole lesson here. Gardening isn't a race against the calendar, and it isn't about collecting hacks. It's about paying attention to what's actually happening in your soil and your microclimate and working with those real conditions instead of fighting them. So tell me in the comments, what's your zone? What's your nighttime low right now? And are you growing in containers or straight in the ground? I rate every one, and I'll answer as many as I can before next week's video. If this helped you understand your garden a little better, stick around and subscribe. I've got more of these science-backed breakdowns coming. See you then.